Everybody, my name is Curtis Hidemasa Orima, and I am the co-chair of the Jewelry Metal Arts program. On behalf of the Jewelry Metal Arts and the Exhibitions program, I'd like to welcome you to the April 22nd Spring 2021 BFA Conversations at California College of the Arts. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to start with the land acknowledgement. If you're not familiar with this practice, it's a way to recognize and honor and respect the original inhabitants of our land. I want to acknowledge that we are all present in the places where we reside because of colonization and genocide of indigenous people. I reside in the East Bay, and I want to honor the Ohlone, Chochenyo, Karkin, and Ramaytush people who are the original people of what we call the San Francisco Bay Area. Excuse me. With today being Earth Day, I'd like to highlight and acknowledge that the land is not to be thought of as a resource, but the source of everything. We are the land is us. We do not exist without it, and I vow to respect and honor the land and its original stewards who have continuously lived upon the land since time immemorial. Our community opposes all forms of individualized and institutional racism towards all people, including indigenous people in which discrimination has occurred through the omission and silencing of their voices. I want to encourage us all to discover, respect, and honor the indigenous people and cultures from the lands where you reside and the areas your ancestors occupied. I'd like to honor our ancestors, those who are with us, and those we have lost. Thank you. Today we are celebrating 4 Jewelry Metal Arts seniors at California College of the Arts. They are courageous and have worked hard to complete their artwork and education during such challenging times. Presenting today is Tailai Liao, Tiffany Singh, Fran Zhang, Mona Zhuyuerong. For today's events, each of the 4 students are going to give a 10-minute presentation introducing their work. And after the presentation, our guest respondents will have 10 minutes to have a conversation together with our presenters. They will be providing feedback and asking questions. Please note that we do not have time today for public questions and answers, but we encourage attendees to drop the comments and affirmations into the Zoom chat for amazing seniors. The transcripts of the chat will be saved, and at the end of the event, it will be sent to the seniors as a virtual guest book and a memory of the event. So please type in comments, or would really love to hear from you. To get started, I'd like to introduce 2 guest respondents. Our first respondent is Sarah Rachel Brown, who is an adornment artist located in Philadelphia, where she's a member of the JV Collective, a collaborative contemporary jewelry studio. Beyond the studio, Sarah is an Art Jewelry Forum's US ambassador, the custom design specialist for Barrio Neal Jewelry, and was the founding metals coordinator for the Pentaculum residency at the Aramont School of Art and Crafts. Most recently, Sarah is known for Perceived Value, which I am a huge fan of. Please check it out. A podcast that was launched in 2017, and it's acclaimed for its radical transparency and candid interviews discussing the financial and logistic aspects of artists' careers. She's exhibited both nationally and internationally, including the Contemporary Jewelry Show in Penland Gallery, Munich Jewelry Week and New York City Jewelry Week. Sarah has been an artist in residence at Aramont School for Arts and Crafts, a core fellow for the Penland School of Crafts, and received her training through a 3-year apprenticeship with jeweler Sarah Lurcher. Welcome, Sarah Rachel Brown. Thank you so much for being here. I would also like to introduce our CCA respondent, Yo-Yo Ma. Yo-Yo Ma is a curator and artist based in Shanghai and San Francisco. Her curatorial research interests include geopolitics and hermeneutics. Hermeneutics refers to the theory and practice of interpretation, where interpretation involves an understanding that can be justified. She received a BA from Fine Art from the Shanghai University. During her studies in Shanghai, she served as a researcher of display design at the L Frame Studio. She is currently pursuing an MA in curatorial practices at CCA. Thank you so much for being here. In addition to our respondents, we have two amazing faculty members from the JMA community who will be introducing our students. The co-chair of the Jewelry Metal Arts program, amazing narrative metalsmith, master of the medium and American Craft Council fellow, we have Professor Marilyn De Silva. And our dedicated and talented senior project faculty member, master of fired glass on metal, and enamels, senior adjunct professor Deb Logier. Both of these amazing people and all of our amazing faculty, including David Cole and Joanne Donovan, and our fantastic staff, including Russ Larman, had really made it possible to thrive during the many challenges we've been facing. So I want to thank you all for your dedication to the Metal Arts program, CCA, and most importantly, the students. So here is Marilyn De Silva to introduce our first presenter. You're muted, Marilyn.
I knew I'd do that. I just want to say hello to everyone, and I'm very excited to listen to our seniors talk about their amazing work. Our first presenter is Fran Zhang, who is from Zhiyang, a small city surrounded by tributaries near Shanghai. She attended high school in Fort Myers, Florida. Growing up, Fran had a fascination with modern architecture. She admired the design of the monumental buildings, but was intimidated by their size. This influenced the beginning of her designing and making jewelry. Reducing the grand scale of the buildings to something wearable gave her a sense of control. She also incorporates her interest in mathematics and mechanisms in her jewelry. The memories and importance of her culture and love of animals is also evident in her work. Here's Fran.
Hi everyone, I'm Fran, and today I'm going to talk about my thesis. And yeah, my thesis is about another way of wearing. Can you guys see my screen? Just want to make sure. Okay. Yeah. My name is Fran Zhang, and I always go by Fran when I'm in CCA. And I was born and raised in Shaoxing, Zhejiang, China. And I was a typical good student when I was in Shaoxing and in my high school, in my primary school and middle school. But when I was in high school, I get into a really good high school because of my test grades. But I feel really depressed that time because I don't really have like any art classes and PE classes while I was in China. So at my age of 17, I decided to go to Fort Myers, Florida, just trying to see like another way and another chance for me, like explore like where is my real interest. And there in Fort Myers, I found my interest in drawing and painting when I first started. And so I decided to continue my art journey, art education journey in CCA. Yeah. My inspiration always coming from architecture, and I always feel a sense of distance and fear when standing in front of the imposing solidity of giant buildings and installations. But at the same time, the movement and dynamism I see after closer examination brings me joy and curiosity. These contradictory feelings inspire me to make miniature sculptures and wearable jewelry so that I can shrink my fear to a human scale size. The process of making and contemplating allows me to gain more control over the world around me. I like turning clay, resin, leather, fabric, wood, and especially metal into different objects, and watching different possibilities becoming a reality. Before becoming a jewelry artist and designer, I had a strong interest in mathematics. This drove me to think more about possibilities in degrees and centimeters when I'm designing my jewelry pieces. Yeah. 4 years of working with my hands in studio help me to understand the mechanical theories and of objects around me, and like how hinges and cars work. This experience pushed me to think more accurately, and more creatively. I assemble pieces of metal and other materials in many layers so that can be opened up to review and also made into interactive with removable pieces. Yeah. And Seth Papek is like my favorite artist because he's always doing things can be removed and at the same time can be wear as a part of jewelry. And I feel like the works are really talking to me. Yeah, so I concluded in my presentation. And also I want to talk about transformable jewelry, which is a jewelry just popping out back in 19th century, and the pieces are just like can be removed and can be wear as different components on people's bodies, and I feel like this is really amazing to me, and I want to continue the idea of transformable jewelry in my thesis. Yeah. So the first piece I want to talk about is the interior and exterior piece. I always went to the zoo in China when I was really little, and I always like to observe different animals, their movements, and I feel it's really inspiring to me. So that I have like a really strong interest in animals, and so that when I grow up, I understand the real importance of animals because they are meant to be care people and help us. So the interior and exterior piece is a piece I made when I was thinking about the life cycle of the tortoise. The little tortoise is just a ironic way of me telling people maybe there's another tortoise coming out after the big turtle after they ended their lives. So there's another tortoise inside of the shell. Yeah, the big tortoise can be wear as a brooch, and the little tortoise can be wear as a necklace. The second piece I'm going to talk about is the one-day jump. One-day jump is the piece I created about based on the jump gesture of frogs because I really like the gesture of their when they about to jump and when they are jumping and then when they just landed on. Yeah. And so the 3 little frogs can be taken off as wearing as earrings, but the lotus leaf can be wear as brooch, and the 3 frogs can be detached on the lotus leaf and wear as a whole brooch at the same time. Yeah. And the third piece I'm going to talk about is key permanent. The piece I made in my home studio. During my quarantine, I started to go outside and visit some parks. So I found my inspiration in Albany a park in Albany, and has already been forgotten by people for many years because there was a huge fire in 2014 and just fire down everything, and people just stopped going there. But I found the beauty of nature there and really inspired me to make a piece about this place. So I collected a piece of bark, just regular raw wood, and I cut it into several different pieces and molded with resin, and I treated as stones and did some bezel setting with it. And on the back, I soldered with some pins so that can be taken off wearing as small pins, and at the same time, they can be wear as a brooch, which is the regular box I made can hold these pins on the top, and at the same time can can prevent people being hurt by these little pins on the back. Yeah. So the piece, I really want to keep this beauty inside this brooch, and also keep carry around this memory with me, because I think it's really important. Just keep going there and trying to find the real beauty of the life. Yeah. The fourth piece I'm going to talk about is Untitled Piece. The piece is made of ostrich leather, and the idea just coming out when I was staring at my purses, and then I asked myself, why did I buy this before? And so the idea just coming out, and I decided I want to make a piece that can be combined some leather and some jewelry. So this is the some detailed pictures of this piece. This is the purse I can wear, and also the chain can be taken off wearing as a necklace. And the part of the necklace part can be also taken off, just detached on the purse using as a keychain. The logo I made with mukumogane, a jewelry technique from Japan, and also this just closer image of my necklace. This is the last piece I'm going to talk about, which is
Fran, just so you know, you have 1 minute left.
Okay. The last piece is what's important. The idea is just coming out from the time when I was staying at home and thinking about what is the most important thing for me. And then the answer just come out right away. I think I know who I am and what I want to do is the most important thing for me. So I decided to make this chanteling piece. I cast it both bat wing and to represent COVID-19, and attached with some steel jump rings, and on the left side, which is the brooch I'm wearing right now with my name tag on it. And I think I should like shout out like who I am and tell everybody who I am and what I'm doing. So that's why I really that's why I made this piece. And on the right side is a miniature leather purse I made. Inside is a mask. Yeah, I think it's a reminder for myself, know who I am and what should I do, and keep doing it. This is the piece about. Yeah,
Great.
just some special thanks to people who have already helped me with my projects, and our GMF family. Yeah, and this is my Instagram if you guys interested. That's it for me. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Fran. Sarah Rachel Brown is going to start off the conversation, and both her and Yo-Yo Ma can discuss your work.
Okay, first of all, I want to say, I'm so excited when you started talking about transformable jewelry, because my mother, who's no longer with me, I have this box that is a jewelry box, but the lid is a scene in nature. And on that, the two birds are actually earrings. And then inside, the pendant is wearable. And it's just something that I love and covet so much. So this idea of transformable jewelry, you just got me so excited. And then that made me think about things that are happening right now that really excite me. I love the purse, and I love that there's aspects of it that you can take off. And I'm wearing Georgina Trevino earrings. She is a contemporary jeweler. If you if you know her, yeah. I love her. She's a close friend of mine. And something that I really love is that she keeps pushing herself. And so she'll make like a screen printed t-shirt, but the person is wearing an earring, and actually there's an earring on my t-shirt. And then you can take the earring off and you can put that earring on to another pair of earrings that I'm like wearing from her. And this concept of like building in pieces. And even the t-shirt came in a purse that was pierced and wearing other earrings that I could switch in and out of the shirt. So I love the concept of the bag. I love this idea of transformable jewelry, and I want you to push it further and keep going with that, because I think right now it's like, okay, sure, you're making a pair of earrings, but like, what else can it be? Like, how are you going to top that? I love the brooches, and I really find the fact that you can take different parts of it and wear it, and then have multiple pins, but then have them all come together to be this one pin that you're wearing. I cannot think of the artist's name right now, but I like the concept of when you buy a brooch, right? Like, I can only wear brooches really during the winter, or like on heavy coats and things like that. But during the summer months and all this other things, like, I don't just want my brooches sitting in a drawer. And so this concept of like, what if you're making pieces, but then thinking about how they're displayed 365 days of the year? Like, what does that brooch sit on? Do you have like a wall display that you make for it that looks cool when the brooch is there and not? And then I just think of it as presentation. Like, I kept thinking about your work where it's like these special little moments that you don't expect, and they can exist in multiple ways, and that makes me excited. When you initially talked about making pieces on a smaller scale based on these like larger structures that intimidated you, or et cetera, I worked for a woman who was a paper maker and a sculptor. And she spent 7 months in Antarctica, and she could only bring a box to work with of materials. And what happened is that she was making essentially mini sculptures, like armatures, that she was working on in Antarctica, and then she was going to go back to her giant studio and create. But what ended up happening is that she made jewelry that was really fantastic. Her name is Kramer. She worked with handmade paper, and then she would stretch the paper over these armatures, and the way that they moved, and there was a lot of color, and they were exciting. And she was thinking about this smaller scale, but then it was like going to be blown up eventually. And she was just somebody that, like, when you mentioned that, I thought you would find that really interesting when you looked at her jewelry, because the jewelry's so exciting, but she just looked at them as mock-ups. Are you the one that makes a lot of paper models? Did you speak to that? Is that what I read?
I
Or you
always
do a
make
little?
clay models. So I
I
think
love
maybe
that.
related.
Well, I always think that it's like the paper models or the clay models, you think that they're the beginning of a different idea, but really they in themselves can lead to being a piece or exciting. Hold on to those clay models, have them on a shelf and look at them all the time, because, like, you know, in a year or something, that might become the piece in and of itself. Or the clay models are what you're using to display the other pieces that you're making eventually. And good on you for working in clay, because personally, I can't stand the material. I'm a metal artist. It's just too soft for me. Other people I thought about, this idea of creating something that can kind of open up and transform. I think I went to a really technical space in my head because you are based in mathematics, and that is something I can't relate to at all. But artists like Ben Dory, Peter Antor, and I'm going to put these in the chat, so I wrote them down for you. Nash Quinn, these are all people that are like really technical, really based in like science and mathematics, but are also artists and also feed into their creativity, and through that has like made their work. I think your color and your inspiration from nature has a softer edge to it, but what if this, like, you know, love of mathematics and being really on point blended with your love of nature and wabi sabi, and like, where does that go, right? And the color. Nash has been making me happy because he has been playing with enamel on these like structured forms that he's making. But yeah, that's what I thought. And then another artist I really loved, because I thought about Tia, who's a paper folder, was Matthew Shillian, who's not a jeweler. He makes wall pieces, but I think you would find him really exciting to look at. And who else? Oh, Francesca Vitale. Do you know who she is? No, it's fine. I'll put it in the chat. She's also somebody who, she's a biochemist that came to jewelry like later in a career. And she does the transformable jewelry. It's like paper folded jewelry based on mathematics, but she'll make brooches and necklaces and pieces that can be worn in different ways and taken off and worn in another way too. And she's also just like the loveliest human in the world. And if you ever said hello to her, she would like talk your ear off for hours. So I'll make sure to like tag you so you two can like connect. Where are you going after this? What are you doing?
I'm at original place going to graduate school, but I got rejected by RISD, and I really want to go there just because the artist, and I really, because I'm the person I really care about like who I'm going to work with and what kind of classes I'm taking. And so I decided I'm not going to graduate school this year, and instead I found a job in Berkeley. So I think I'm going to like work a year, just see how it goes, because yeah, just see how it goes.
Well, take it from me. Rejection has gotten me all the coolest things in my life. So like, and also I think having a year off from what you just did is so important. And I know you probably aren't stoked on that right now, and rejection is really hard, even though it does inform us and help us grow. I think the fact that you get this year to kind of take in what you just did is a gift, really, truly is. And I'm excited to see where you go.
I want to make sure that Yo-Yo Ma has a chance to respond too. We have just about a minute and a half left. If you could respond, that would be great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you for your presentation, Fran. And your work, Keep Permanent, is very interesting to me because it reminds me of some Asian Chinese proverb called jade can be polished by stone from other hills. 他山之石可以攻玉. And I'm curious about your ways of using materials here. And I see the resin, silver, and some raw wood combined with each other here. And I want to know your standard of selecting this wood, and if there are any stories behind it. As you said, there are some fires there. And besides, I would like to ask that the wood shape. Does the wood shape influence the shape of your jewelry? How do you think about the wood's inner shape with the external shape of the silver? Because I think there might be some contrast of geometric figures and wood's original shape here. So could you briefly answer this question maybe?
Wow, there's a lot of questions to answer. So first, I just feel like a really relative when first saw the park. So I decided to I want to keep this in memory. This is how I started with jewelry, because I feel jewelry is something you can always carry on with you, and not like a clothes you can just take off. And so I think it's really have something really emotional and personal to me as a jewelry. So that's why when I went to the place, I feel I want to keep this memory in me. And the best way is just to take the material in that park, so I will be remember that forever. So I just take the just really common bark and card it with different. I just card it, and there are many different sizes and really different shapes. I know, like, because I'm really interested in mathematics and geometric, so I always card it in geometric with like a straight lines, just because I always do that, not intention, but I always do that by the end. But yeah, so so that's why, like, maybe that's because probably this is the reason why people always say, oh, this is so geometric. But I just don't feel like I want to make geometric things when I was making. But at the end, I just comes into geometric and just comes into a whole. And when I place them together, they're just kind of like a flower. So I decided to make them as a whole. I don't want to separate them. I feel like every wood piece I cut it all have the all does have their stories. And by and just I want to mention the wood I collected, it's a oak wood, always in autumn. So I think it's a really type of plant can represent autumn and the life here.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you so much, Fran.
Yeah,
and thank you, Yuma and Sarah. We have to move on to our next presentation. Thank you all so much. We have Deb Logier, who's going to introduce our next presentation.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm so proud of all the seniors, and I'll start with Tiffany Singh. Singh Shu, or Tiffany, the name she has chosen for her California College of the Arts adventure, is a bright light in the Jewelry Metal Arts program. She misses the joyful noise of hammering late into the night with her family of Jewelry Metal Arts majors, but she has managed to bring some solace into this difficult moment by creating intimate, magical pieces from afar. I have had the pleasure of working with Tiffany for 4 semesters during her time at CCA, first meeting her in Jewelry Metal Arts 1 at the tender age of 18, referred to in her hometown of Qingdao, China, as the year of becoming an adult. In her words, however, she admits, "I may still have a lot of immature spaces, but that is part of growing up." I think this introduces perfectly the place you are all about to enter as Tiffany lets you into her charming, surprising, and often ironic pink fantasy world. Let us all welcome Tiffany.
Hi everyone, I'm gonna share my screen. So I'm gonna tell you my story and my world. Hi, my name is Jing in Chinese, and I go by Tiffany at CCA. I was born and grew up in Qingdao. It is a coastal city in northern China. I've loved handcrafts since I was a kid. Folding papers, drawing on the textbooks are something I can do without deliberate guidance, and my mother said she was most impressed by the Barbie dolls she bought for me. I would take off their clothes and make new clothes for them by using papers and towels. All I see and hear as I go through life is like a fairy tale with me as the protagonist. I consider my experiences the script, with each piece becoming a chapter. I put in elements of surprise while also adding a layer of unexpected reality. This piece was made during my study at CCA, a thimble for Hans Christian Andersen. As a well-known journalist author, I think he must have to protect his fingers very well. The older I grew, the more I wondered, do fairy tales really tell love? I'm not sure. Despite the challenges encountered by fairy tale characters, they are always able to move forward with a brave spirit and the strength of the supernatural. I love life, and learning helps me experience and feel the perception of living, especially through art and metalsmithing. It could be an experience in pink costumes with my classmates and instructors at a group event. And the left is with my instructor, Curtis. And the right is Marilyn. These photos were taken in February 2020 in Yuma Art Symposium. It was a pretty special and unforgettable memory to me in the past 4 years. The Yuma Art Symposium brings visual artists from across the country to Yuma, Arizona, for an immersive weekend of lectures, demonstrations, community, and sharing. In addition to a long history of hosting acclaimed artists,
The symposium has been an important place for students to engage with the community in a welcoming and fun setting. And when our group got back to school from the event, the coronavirus started to spread. And I made a photo holder by taking the shape of the safety glasses we must wear when work in jewelry studio to protect us from the danger, in case to hold this particular memory into an object. And this is the final piece. The glasses can be changeable as the photos in the photo album. And Pink Ladies Forever. I went back to China in April last year, and it's been exactly a year now. I always write. That's the way I talk to myself and to the quiet world. This casual literary note was written in July 29th, 2020 at 1:38 a.m. when I couldn't fall asleep. The world is dangerous, so we should pay attention to safety. Get an education to be aware of risky. My brain is in a mess, thinking of good signs, but people bring joy. I hope the worms will grow and cover me. Go sleep, we're all loved ones. Good night, baby. Since when I found that I expect a safe place to expose. And I started to think about, do I really have a safe space in real world that I could stay there? Yes, I do have one. It's my mom's friend's cafeteria. And the profile you see in this photo is Aunt Yu. And sometimes I'll do my assignments there in her cafe. And Aunt Yu will sit there and do some readings or share me some snacks she made for the day. And if there are more guests coming, and Aunt Yu will be preparing the foods and drinks in the kitchen area. And I'll sit there in my place, I guess, and listen to the sizzle sounds from the frying pan. And that's where the happiness comes out. And Aunt Yu makes the best cake rolls in the world, at least the world I've tasted and seen. And her cafe named You and I never bring any friends there. Most of the time I go alone or with my mother. It is a special place for me. It is not big, but it accommodates many of my emotions and imagination. And I want to transfer this feeling into a touchable thing, and one day I could hold it with my hands, that those moments are no longer floating. I always consider ring as a magic jewelry that hides secrets, and now there's a secret behind the curtains. When I open the curtain, the cake roll pops out, and just one bite, I'll forget all my troubles. And there are some baking tools hanging in the back as they hang in the kitchen area. And I would call them magic spells. It is those witchcraft to let the birth of the cake roll, the gratification, the faces light up, and my upturned mouth. And I made a wish. I hope everyone could have a little space like a tree house to stay up above the ground, to escape and to believe in the fairy tale at one point, even under the gaze of matrix reality. And here is my little tree house. The tree house won't just be there. We need to find a way, with our patience, bravery, and persistence, to climb up that crazy uneven ladder. The place I want to get in, I can clearly see through the window what is attracting me. And watching TV is the most relaxing thing after I've done work. And there may be sharp edges on the other side of the tree house, but that doesn't stop me from finding out. And maybe there's a little surprise waiting for me when I have the courage to climb up and open a door, and it hits me head on. Color is really important, with warm colors allowing me to capture hope. Pink is always dominant because it is dreamy and full of romance, while simultaneously childlike and innocent. Something I found interesting in the color reference book is that Monoprix was selling a pack of 5 pink disposable razors at $1.93, while a 10-pack disposable blue costs 1.8 blah blah. Sorry, I can't see the screen, but I remember that's cheaper than the pink one. And this phenomenon has come to be known as the pink tax. So is pink a luxury color? I guess so. And now the door is completely open. I can see how cozy and soft this space is. I can release my heart and emotion because I know it is totally safe here. In addition to being drawn by color, it was only after I began to create in metal that my understanding of life evolved. That art comes from the moments and events we encounter, and it can be healing to transform and recreate them. I thank my mothers, my family, and friends for helping me understand this, along with the importance of expressing my experiences in a tangible way. And this is a little class book I made at my first jewelry class, and that's where our story starts.
Great.
And I want to say thank you to Deb, Curtis, Marilyn, and David for guiding me through these precious 4 years. And I really learned a lot. And I think now I can trust my voice and be honest. And I know we're safe. Thank you, and I love you.
Oh, that is so sweet, Tiffany. Thank you so much. I so appreciate all your words. Yo-Yo Ma, can you start out with our responding to her presentation? Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for our sweet presentation. And I think you're a very good storyteller. And your work, Treehouse, has a lot of details. For example, because it is a safe place to expose so that the treehouse here doesn't have a roof. So I guess the metaphors might be the important facts in your works. And your discovery of pink text is very impressed. And the leader here looks very difficult to climb because the non-parallel later steps. So there are charming transcript of your concept. And do you mean the in this work, do you mean the pink is a luxury color and same as having a safety place to expose is a luxury condition? And do you think sharing some intimate or personal emotions in your jewelry fits to jewelry's original function? So here's my 2 questions for you.
I think objects hold memory, and jewelry is an object that I can use to hide my emotions or express my heart, and also the adventures I've went during my life. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Great, Rachel, do you want to add anything? Sarah Rachel
Ah.
Brown, do you want to add anything? Thank you.
I'm really drawn to artists who are storytellers, and I think there's something really powerful about vulnerability. And as I watched you speak, you invoked emotion in me, which is something very powerful to be able to do. I thought of other artists who touch me and constantly drive my imagination, because I feel, especially these days, my imagination is lacking. Like Aurélie Guillaume, who uses cartoon characters that she creates herself and depicts them in enamel and bright colors. And I felt like you two would be friends if you met in life and talked. And then also I wanted to just tell you about an artist that I really love. Her name is Stella Rose St. Clair, and her entire apartment is pink. And she's a fashion designer and musician and artist. And I'll put her Instagram handle in the chat because I think you will love everything about her. But thank you for sharing. It's good.
Thank you, Sarah.
Great. Do either of you have any additional comments, or do you have any questions for anyone, Tiffany?
Oh, I forgot to ask, where are you going after this?
I'm gonna go to grad schools at Michigan.
In Michigan?
Yeah, Cranbrook Academy of Art.
Congratulations. You actually made me think of Aaron Decker's work. He is a graduate from Cranbrook and tells stories with his work as well. And there's a lot of color and it's playful and it's a play on toys and childhood. So I'll put that in the chat as well.
Oh, I think I have seen his works on the website.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look more about that.
Great, thank you so much. Congratulations, Tiffany, on Cranbrook. That's fantastic. So we're going to bring Marilyn Da Silva back into the cube to introduce our next presenter.
I'm presenting Tailai Liao, who is from Chengdu, China. And she is a member of the Chinese Student Organization at CCA and has been responsible for helping to plan events for the group on campus. And Tailai's work uses advanced technology and materials to create non-traditional jewelry. Recently, Tailai has been examining the growing phenomenon of nightclubs for young people in China. Raves have become a popular entertainment, but according to her, they carry the cost of negative stereotypes for young women who attend. Tailai hopes that her jewelry will address this problem. Here's Tailai.
Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to my BFA Thesis Conversation. And let me introduce two of my friends. One is Ying Liu. She's at Sydney right now. And one is Yuma Wang, and she is in China right now. Thank you very much to attend my thesis conversation. And this over respected day and my talk. Let me share my screen. My topic is cyber dance, and first let me show you a video. This video was took by me when I go to like and these two artists has influenced me a lot for my project. First is Dan Flavin. I first know him is a field trip to MoMA during class in sophomore. The first picture is what I saw in SF MoMA. This colorful lighting installation attracted me at a glance, and I still remember it for 4 years from later. And here is some other work of him. And Dan Flavin was an American minimalist artist famous for creating sculptural objects and installations from commercially available fluorescent light feature. I like how he used different colors of light to create art art piece. And Anthony Gaudi is my favorite architect. He was an Catalan architect known as the greatest exponent of Catalan modernism. Gaudi's work had highly individualized style, and most of his work is located at Barcelona, including the Church of the Sagrada Familia and the public park Pecure. And my art practice is based on my daily life since I was born and grew up in China. My work were mainly influenced by Chinese culture and combined with my personal feelings. For example, I made an Asian Chinese trader's carriage and hand scale to show the cultural heritage, and my grandma's gossip to commemorate my childhood. I also army to promote the practice of Chinese culture because I want people all over the world to be exposed to and understand Chinese culture. I think finding the true self is the most important process of pursuing the career as an artist. After completing each work, I continue to improve and change myself. I would like to use metal and other stationary materials such as fabric, ceramic to express the theme and process of my current project. I think the value of an artist is not how famous he or she is how much money he or she can earn, but how we use our work to make a difference to the society. And here's the two work I made. And why I choose this topic. Like any other teenager, I'm keen on dancing in nightclub. I feel quite relieving. So I feel quite relieving in the dark and dance with the crowd. Nowadays, going to nightclub has become a popular entertainment among young people. However, many people have stereotyped that who go to nightclub will not well behave because they may be skinny type. And here is some photos I took when I was in the nightclub, and particulars in China. I think we don't need to care about others' opinion. This is just as a normal entertainment as we go travel or do the sport. And this is, and then I do the research of the real culture and the real place. And then I did the primary research that in China nowadays, more and more rave has been appeared and more nightclub has opened, and which has become contribute to the Chinese economy. And I researched the public's view on girls who go to nightclub, and most of them hold the view that they are regular in nightclub are undisciplined. Then I interviewed 63 people between 18 to 19 years old from China, and I collect their opinion on girls who go into raves. And I found that 14 to 6 years old group disagree that girls go to nightclub, and most of them are civil servants. Most of people from 18 to 30 years old except go to rave. After research, I find more and more nightclub tend you. Yeah, this is my design process. And after research, I found more and more new turn to use high-tech design to express the future things and give people a feeling in the universe. And this is what inspiration come from. Is a cyberpunk. Is a game I played before, and I think it's very similar to the style in the nightclub now. So my work has influenced by the screen in this game, and then I do Then I do the test of the light, and I feel the atmosphere of the light in the dark, and I project the light of the universe on my body and make a light pulse. And I bought several wireless light bulb to see how they work. Then I finally choose the wireless light wire with a small battery force, which can represent my topic most. And then I found the style I want to put into my piece is the high-tech one. So I use I did not use the traditional work I used before, and I used 3D printing, and I made the mold for my piece. And here comes my final work. This is the shoulder hanging piece. That one is hold the light, and this one is on the shoulder, and this one is the hand piece that wear on the hand with the battery in and I made a box inside the piece and hold the light inside. This is an earring with a handset. There is a small handphone here. I set into the ear. This is a ring. Yeah, it's full. And the last one I want to show, the last one I to show is my friend wear my piece to the light cup. Yeah, after I take to the light cup, many people come to ask me where I bought from. I say it's made by myself. Yeah, thank you. And thank you everyone for helping me over this past 4 years. You are most important person to me, and I have grown up a lot these 4 years, and I will continue to move forward with your love and your help. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Tailai. So appreciate all your work and your words. Sarah Rachel Brown is going to start off our conversations for you today.
Wow, that piece was really exciting to get to see it on your friend in action. I just had a conversation with gallerist Sienna Patty, and we talked about jewelry in the context of like, when you put a piece of jewelry on yourself, if someone's going to invest and buy it, it's because it gives them something, right? It enhances them in a way. And I love the fact that that piece enhanced their experience in that atmosphere and speaks to it. Immediately, and I'm sure you've seen this, and if you haven't, dig in, Nonstick Nostalgia, which was a show at the Museum of Arts and Design in New York City, curated by Kelly Riggs, talked about cyberpunk, retrofuturism, and this kind of clashing of like contemporary jewelry and artists who are digging into that. Inez Alpha, who is an artist whose jewelry only exists in 3D and virtual reality. She's kind of the one that kicked off the filters of jewelry on the body. And like Charlie XCX, you know, that pop star, on the cover of one of her albums is Inez Alpha's virtual reality jewelry adorning her body. And the aesthetic is like very in line with what you were showing in the imagery. I also thought of Karina Shashari, who creates masks, like jewelry and adornment for the body is what you're very much so interested in elevating certain experiences. she has an Instagram account called Fashion for Bank Robbers that I think you'll be obsessed with if you haven't already seen it, where it's all these artists who are very much so interested in what you're interested in, is like adorning the body and enhancing the body. There's drag queens and Bjork and other artists who are making adornments that just, you can't even sometimes decipher them from the body if it just looks like they become a part of them. And I think that that is something that I found interesting about your piece.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Yo-Yo, if you want to add anything, that would be great.
Yeah. Sure. I see that your work stems from the reflections on the daily life, and the sketches of your work are very relatable to the external installation of the body. And this allows for a lot of possibility for interdisciplinary expansion of your work, such as maybe collaborate with some dancers. So I have one artist want to recommend is artist Liao. It might inspirate for you because she is an artist who is in our generation and also focusing on cyber culture topics and cyberpunk, and did some interdisciplinary works with some producers and some dancers, and I can type her name later in our chat. And also this combination of the light and electricity jewelry is a very broad attempt, and it is also a common feature in club culture, and it reminds me of camp art, interpreting the works in an exaggerated and dramatic way, and at the same time to undermine some of the cliche female stereotypes like weakness in an ironic way. So I think it would be good to further strengthen your concept and understand the origins of camp cultures, and let it go deeper into your work might help for. And so if you have time, I suggest you to read Susan Sontag's book, Against Interpretation, and I can type the book's name in our chat later too.
Great, thank you so much. Are there any final comments or questions?
Oh, I forgot. I wanted to ask each person, what's next for Tailai?
I will go to graduate school in British.
And where?
In the UK.
Nice.
Great, what school are you going to, Tailai?
Birmingham City.
Great, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for your recommendation later.
Yes, thank you so much, Tailai. Thank you, Sarah Rachel Brown and Yo-Yo Ma. Next, we have Deb Logier, who's going to introduce our final presenter today. Thank you so much.
All right, hi again. Okay, Zhuyuerong, who goes by Mona here at California College of the Arts, was born and raised in the eastern coastal city of Shanghai, China. Based on her creative directions and inspiration, I imagine it to be a beautiful place. I have had the pleasure of working with Mona for 4 semesters, the first being in Jewelry Metal Arts 1, where I was immediately taken with her quiet, introspective approach to exploring metal, color, and form. Mona's dedication has earned her the International Creative Achievement Award 4 times. She states her favorite process is hammering metal because every hit will change the form and leave its mark on the surface. Her work reflects a closeness to nature, not only in form, but also in spirit. As you're about to discover, Mona observes and contemplates, translating inner strength and subtle beauty, while also trying to understand the part we all play in the process. Join me in welcoming Zhuyuerong.
Thanks, Deb. I'm going to share my screen. Hi, everyone. I'm Mona. I'm born and raised in Shanghai, China, and I'm jewelry metal art major. And today I will go through my thesis conversation presentation. For me, handwork is something I've been interested in since I was a child. For as long as I can remember, I've loved helping my dad assemble the things in the home. And when I have time, I will do some handcraft for fun, like paper cutting and building model. And I'm deeply attracted by nature. Whenever I study the nature world, I'm shocked by the power of the life. So I get a lot of books talking about plants and animals, and I enjoy the process to study each part of them. And the first metal work I made are 2 leaves, and they are from my beginning year in CCA. I also dive in since I'm 10 years old. This experience made me more curious about the ocean, which also is a big part of the nature. And the first artist influenced me a lot is Arkang Kim. She is a Korean-based artist who creates fantastical jewelry that combines disparate symbols like wings and crowns into a single shape. Arkang is very good at constructing her piece that she considers about space, light, structure very well. And she also adding different elements like glass or ceramics pieces in her works. Another artist is Hannah Hatman. She describes her artist practice as a dialogue between past, present, and parallel worlds, rather more like pieces of armor than accessories. Hatman's jewelry occupied the dark space between the literal and the figurative, offering the wearer an entrance into an alternate universe. I love her technique to combine pieces of sheet metal into a complete work. And I want to show the power of nature in my pieces through elements like the characteristics of the animals, shapes, forms, and colors that fit the work. In my work, I show the idea in a subtle way rather than directly telling my audience. My works are a collection of my personal story. My inspirations come from experience with my friend or an impressive memory with my family. And when I was in my primary school, I had the experience of taking care of a group of silkworms. That was the first time I learned about the process of the life. They grow up from egg to worm to moth and lay eggs again. One circle just happened in 1 month, but taught me the circulation of life. I found that the circle of life is a phenomenal process. Sometimes the moment of death does not mean the end of life, but the continuation of life. The death of a whale can also indicate his death can bring 100 years of possibility to the cold, dark ocean floor. The contrast between death and rebirth make me think about how wondrous this process is. And some human behavior causes the chain to break in the life circle. Are this action necessary? Do this behavior violate the integrity of the loop? These are the questions I want to explore and show in my work and arouse some thinking. In addition to nature elements, I also add some artificial elements to the work to represent human influence to the loop. And the first piece I want to show is a brooch, and I call it the life circle of silkworm. In this piece, I try to have different elements from the different growing steps to show the life circle of the silkworm. I also think about constructions in this piece that I use single metal line, solid metal sheet, dark color, white or highly polished part, and also a silkworm cocoon in the center. I'm interested in constructions and layers, so before I made this piece, I make paper model for each part and experiment with them. Then I look at which combination works best for me. And the second piece I made is the cage. Because of human intervention in industry, many silkworms cannot break the cocoon into molds, but are boiling in water to death. In this piece, I want to show the idea that the life cycle of silkworm is being broken by human. The silver thread, which attempt to sew holes on cocoon, and the enclosed cage are all representations of it. There are eggs on the top of the cage, and there are wings and silk in the chain. They are parts of the silkworm's life cycle, but they are outside the cage. The circulation was cut off by the cage. And this one is another brooch I made as a continuation of last piece. The idea of the piece is similar. The straight lines and sheet form into two artificial wings, and there are also lines and silk clothes form into a nature-style wings. The top part is straight and sharp, and the bottom part is soft and curved. I want to show the contrast between the artificial and nature. And the silk escape from the small cocoon cage represent the defense to human control. And this one is a screen printing work. The idea of welfare makes me think about the Day of the Dead, a Mexican holiday celebrated in Mexico. In their culture, death is viewed as a nature part of the human circle, and people will decorate with the flower to honor the dead, and custom in skeleton face. So in my print, I choose to use the body and the bone of the whale to form the shape of the skeleton face. And there are also flowers and water plants decorate around the head. I wanted the contrast of the color in printing and the movement of the shape can express that the life cycle from welfare is never ending. And the last piece is a metal work around the idea of welfare. I use copper to build the body of the whale, and I use clay to build the skeleton. There are many curved hollows on the surface of the lower half whale body, and we can see the skeleton through them. It felt to me like the skin of the whale's back was peeling off. And there are flowers and water plants blooming out from the top of the whale. They represent the new life reborn from the welfare. Living flowers are glowing up, but the dead plants are facing down. The dead whale body feeding thousands of new life. And I want to show the feeling that this is a process of life cycle from the top to the bottom. And that's all my pieces. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Mona, for your presentation and your words. Appreciate it so much. Let's see, I think Yo-Yo Ma is going to continue with the conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mona, for your presentation and your work. Most of the works, especially the life cycle of the silkworms, remind me of the Chinese ink painting, and the points, lines, and surface three-dimensionally twist together in the space. And the silkworm cocoon and silver produce on interesting materials contrast. And your statement of the work consider a lot about the birds that's circling, and it's might related to the Buddhist classics. And I can see that you're deconstructed the individual objects while retaining the description of the object's vitality, and it's also correspondent to the core of the ink painting. So I would like to recommend you a Chinese painting manual called Painting Manual of the Mustard Seed Garden, 芥子园图谱. So it might be a good reference to help you improving how to partially abstracting figurative objects. So besides, I think you also think about the sustainability a lot. So there's a little bit abstract question for you. What kind of jewelry you think can be marked as sustainable jewelry? And do you prefer or plan to adopt some other sustainable materials in your works to complete your concept in the future?
Yeah, I think in my work, I use a lot of like metal, and my ideas are about nature, and I made like different sizes of jewelry. But I think like jewelries are like have many powers in it, so different kinds have different kinds of power in jewelry, like the rings or the necklace. And I think if it when we made jewelries, if we can add some like our own thinking or our story into it, like the jewelry can like stay longer. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Great, Sarah, if you want to respond as well, that would be great.
Mona, I find it so interesting that you raised the silkworms, and then the silkworms that you incorporated into the pieces. I'm assuming all of that is from your experience of raising the silkworms, correct?
Yeah.
And it made me think, my studio mate, Lucy Jockle, did something similar where she would take certain parts. There was a beehive that died, and so she got hundreds of these bees, and over the years have like utilized parts of them, like the wings and etc. And what I like is that you're not pushing it on us. It's a really delicate manner in the way in that you're incorporating the silkworm into your pieces to draw attention and kind of honor them, and have this conversation around the circle of life being broken, and how at certain aspects of their circle of life, it's being interrupted and therefore not continued. Something that drew me in immediately when I saw it was how you incorporated the wire to close up the basket. And I think that that's something that I felt more interesting when you took the natural object and enhanced it more, rather than just like placing it on something that you had built around it. All beautiful, but that moment right there was really lovely. And also just kudos to you on that whale necklace. I was staring at it and I want more pictures of it, because there are so many parts of it and so many components, and the craftsmanship and the time that you spent on it, and also just the surface techniques, like the colors in that piece, the patinas are really lovely. You have a really wonderful skill set and foundation, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
Thank you so much.
What's your next step?
I think I will having a like gap year from study. I want to like express more, and I have a home studio in my house, so maybe I can like work by myself or finding some jobs, and then I will go to a graduate school.
Wonderful. I love gap years. It gives you time to kind of take in what you just did.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any other final comments from Mona? Thank you all so much. This was a great event. It was so great to hear from all the students. I want to remind everybody too, all this work was amazing, but particularly amazing during this time because they all made their own studios. We haven't really worked in the CCH studios for almost a year now. So these students really figured out how to do all this work on their own in their home studios, or changing gears with what they're used to doing and working with other materials. So we're all so proud of you and your ability to do this amazing work during this challenging time. So I want to thank everybody for coming and showing up today. It's so appreciated. I want to thank Sarah Rachel Brown and Yo-Yo Ma for being our respondents today. We gained so much from all your words and your suggestions, and your wonderful artist suggestions was so fantastic. I want to also thank Jamie Austin and Brandice Puffsdotter for their help with this event and organizing all of these amazing conversations through the end of the semester. And again, I want to thank our fantastic faculty and staff throughout the college. You guys make this all happen. So that concludes our event. And
let's
again,
unmute.
Warm thank you to all the students, and yeah, congratulations.
Hey. Great work, everybody. So inspiring.
Congratulations, everyone.
Good job. I'm so proud of all of you.
Very proud of you.
Ditto. Bravo.
Yeah, I really want to see
job,
more.
ladies.
I can't wait to see even more pictures because there's just so much in that detailed work that you're all doing. Really impressive. It's very exciting. And you're all such great storytellers. My gosh. Beautiful writing. Really beautiful writing. I really appreciated your stories. So good.
Yay.
And thank you, Sarah and Yo-Yo. That your comments were so great and insightful, and I know the students really appreciated them, and so did all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being
Totally.
with us.